What is something you used to think people were over-exaggerating about until you experienced it yourself?
Skinny dipping feels incredible and miles different than swimming with a bathing suit on.
Shrooms.
Adulthood.
Heartburn and indigestion. Migraines.
Panic attacks.
Few years ago I thought I was having heart attacks. Went and had a full cardiovascular study, blood tests, EKG. Nope. I was having panic because my teenage daughter kept getting into these huge arguments with my wife. There's no real story to the arguments. It was really just a cocktail of clashing personalities, resentment, frustration, and a whole lot of hormones. I was stuck in the middle with both sides upset that I wasn't supporting them. Simply understanding that they were not heart attacks made them go away. I think the arguing would cause my heart rate to jump, then my body thought something was wrong, which made it worse.
Using a thought it was just weird and unnecessary. But during the great COVID TP shortage, I bought a bidet attachment to save on what a game changer a bidet is. I feel nasty using TP now.
With someone you're deeply in love with.
How much parents really do want their kids' energy.
The death of a pet. I knew it would be horrible, but I thought it was just a few weeks of grieving. I lost one of my cats to illness, and I didn't even cry. I was in so much shock, nothing felt real, and even to this day I still start to choke up when I think about the cat's name was Judy. Reading these replies has me in tears. Our babies are only around for so long, so we have to love them for every second we have them.
Panic attacks. Like, don't get me wrong, I knew it was serious, but I didn't understand the depth of how awful it feels and how 100% it feels as real as any other panic. Only happened to me one time and it felt like that moment before you get hit with a baseball bat. For like an hour.
How much a kidney stone hurts.
Back pain.
Pure agony.
Literally thought I was dying.
Sinus infection. Felt like someone was hitting my head with a hammer.
Oh yeah, let's lie on the floor at Walgreens for a little bit and wait until it stops.
Waterboarding. We were and figured, it's just water. Hold your breath and you'll be fine. Then I volunteered to test it out and it was the absolute worst.
My first experience of using a bidet was in Vietnam. I had eaten some questionable street food and had explosive diarrhea. The bidet offered sweet relief as opposed to abrasive toilet paper. I highly recommend them.
A proper toothache.
Depression.
How fast time feels like it goes. Every year feels like it's going faster.
Exploding gallbladder pain.
I thought the same of pepper spray. Same situation, and thinking, oh it's just like cutting unions. Yeah no, I was gasping for air, coughing for 15 minutes and my eyes hurt for 2 days. 0 tenths. Do not recommend.
Heartbreak. I couldn't comprehend that level of emotional pain until I experienced it myself.
The older you get the faster your life goes by.
Period cramps.
Insomnia.
We lost one of our cats almost 13 years ago and my husband to this day cannot talk about it without tearing up.
Splitting head, nausea, ringing ears, light hurts, sound hurts, moving brings pain, dizziness, muscles cramp, even my teeth hurt. Until I finally fall asleep. From then, 45 minutes later when I wake up, a euphoria that is unmatched by anything I've ever based on the comments I've gotten on this. I'm starting to think there are 2 types of migraines. Probably more, but can be grouped into 2. Migraine lasts for a few hours, you take a nap, then feel. Migraine lasts for a day plus then you feel like for a week. Are these 2 different things maybe? Anyone know? Edit 2. I've gotten over 100 comments on this, and I do plan to read them all, eventually. So keep them coming. Some of these are incredibly descriptive and worth the read. Mostly I feel for all of you. This stinks. Take care of yourselves. Based on what I'm reading there are treatments for some of these. So I'm gonna suggest that you go see a doctor. Maybe you can get some relief. You might not need to just deal with it yourself.
The zombie movie trope where someone hides a bite from the group. I always thought nah, people are better than that. But then COVID happened and people are not better than that.
It legit feels like drowning. I waterboarded myself in the shower using a hand towel and it's 0 to 100 panic mode. It's a weird sensation because you're able to move your diaphragm but then your mouth detects water and it's like, yo, stop inhaling, but no water is entering your mouth. It interrupts the feedback loop in such a way that it feels like you're at the bottom of a pool taking deep breaths expecting water. I have no other way to describe it, but it's very primal. Some deep instinct unlocks.
Restless leg syndrome. I went to rehab and got clean from multiple substances in July 2021 and developed it about a month or so into sobriety. Holy. I definitely thought it was just like some kind of tic where you had to move your legs, but that is not the case. My doctor prescribed me baclofen, which is a muscle relaxer and that has helped tremendously.
How much worse hangovers get as you. That was a tough lesson.
Seeing stars, thought it was an exaggeration until I had a very bad coughing fit, and suddenly I'm seeing stars. Perfectly fitting, thanks for the upvotes. And really cool to see all of your stories. Such a whimsical neurological phenomenon, right?
How incredibly amazing. Narcotics back surgery and was hooked up to an IV of Dilaudid with one of those buttons so you could give yourself a little treat every 30 minutes. Holy. I have never felt pure heavenly euphoric comfort like that before, nor have I since. I can completely see how people get addicted to the stuff.
How heartbreaking it is to see your child suffering and you can't do about it.
Sometimes when my cat is curled up in bed, all I can think of is am I going to do when he's gone? I truly don't know why, but once that thought gets into my head, I'm pretty much for sleeping that night. I know it's inevitable, but does it hurt to know one day it will be different than today?
Most people expect it to hurt the most when passing a stone through the urethra. Nothing prepared me for the pain as it passed through my kidney. 1 second I would be fine, carrying on conversations, prancing around nimbly-bimbly. The next second I would be keeled over, crying in agony, losing my lunch due to the sudden onset of crippling 0/10 would not.
The other week my 10-year-old nephew said, "Wow, I haven't heard this song in forever." The little dude was referring to 9 months lol.
Dentist chiming in, tooth pain. I knew academically how painful they could be, until it happened to me.
My dad once told me something along these lines and it hit home. When you're 10 years old, 1 year is 10% of your life. When you're 50 years old, 1 year is 2%, so it's relatively quicker, less significant.
Anxiety. I thought I understood and didn't understand the big deal until I really felt it. To say it controls you is an understatement. The years go by fast, but the days are so long.
Old people telling when rain was coming based on arthritis. There's a few studies that showed no correlation, one older one that showed some correlation, maybe others that cast doubt on the correlation. But it's very hard to prove a negative, and the science seems heavily overshadowed by medical practitioners like radiologists, who say there is a correlation because of barometric pressure. I also found it super interesting that the people who mentioned these studies in the comments were downloaded to oblivion. I wavered back and forth about making this edit before realizing I value accuracy more than karma.
Slow down, loudly crying.
Hot flashes. I didn't think they were this. A 31-year-old man who took Wellbutrin for the past month, and hot flashes are a side thought. You just thought you were hot. No, you super hot legitimately, and you have to do something about it or you'll go insane. It's not in your head. It's your brain raising your temps until you can't focus on anything else.
For a long time, I had very minor migraines. 2 years ago, during peak pandemic, I was working from home in an industry that was being heavily overworked and we were desperately understaffed. One day, working to top my lunch at home with a creeping headache, I realized my vision was getting weird. It was like someone was taking bite chunks out of the vision in my left eye. Suddenly the pain in my head cranked to an insane level and I could only see little blips of light out of my left eye. I knew immediately it was a migraine, but I had never experienced one that bad. Messaged my manager that I needed to clock out and please try to understand that I was sorry, but I literally just stressed half of my vision out of existence. Smiley face.
The physical pain of getting older.
I mean, that's of his whole life. You really can't understand back pain until you experience it. There is no powering through true back pain. Your body stops working and you collapse.